This is definitely what I wanted to be doing today. I picked up 10 beautiful alfalfa square bales from a local farmer, and it's beautiful alfalfa hay. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that the goats are gonna absolutely love this. As some of you guys know, the bales I got for the goats, for sure 3 of them are rotten. I've been promised replacements for free. Still have not seen those replacements. Will I ever see the replacements? I don't know at this point. They seem like good people and honest people, but in today's day and age, you just never really know. And then the bale that I'm into right now for the goats, it looks like good hay, but getting closer toward, like, I don't even know, like probably a third of the way into it, and all of a sudden I'm hitting rotten spots where it's actually pretty gross. And so I'm feeling rather frustrated because I bought 11 bales off of them, and 3 were rotten pretty much right through, and then now this one's got a fair bit of rotten there. So I got some squares for convenience sake for kidding season, because I'm going to be running 3 stalls in the barn, and for those stalls they're each going to have hay nets, and trying to stuff loose hay into hay nets is absolutely atrocious. I have tried to do it before, it takes so long. Versus these are broken into little flakes, and so you can grab one flake of hay, put it in a hay net, and it goes in there nicely because it's more compressed in little sections. And so when I am dealing with lack of sleep and crazy busy days and nights, it's going to be nice to have something that's convenient. So I'm going to stash these in the barn for now because the barn is not being used, and then we'll go feed all the critters for the afternoon. All right, we got a little something happening here. I brought them to the shed, but then I've got to organize a little bit in here. This is just straw for bedding. Dog crate, water, trough heaters, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of garbage and stuff I gotta take care of. So I'm gonna stack these guys try to put them in the front actually. And then I'll throw the actual hay probably along the back. All right, a little bit better. Pulled all the actual stuff up front. This is a crate cover and all my straw bedding up close because I'll use that first. And then my 10 alfalfa bales in the back. Yes, I'm kind of winded. I'm gonna pull down my heat lamp at some point. It's not plugged into anything, so obviously there's no chance of it starting a fire. But I have to test all my heat lamps and see if any of them work. I'm pretty certain I have to replace them and purchase a few new ones. So that will be fun, among other things that need to be replaced. This is my working oil lamp or oil heater. So there's just an oil in there that warms up, and then it's kind of like radiant heat. It works pretty well. Next thing that has to happen in here is the ceiling needs to be dealt with, and that is 1000% a husband job. So he's got to put plywood, probably replace all of this back insulation because it got wet because it wasn't finished on the outside, and so he needs to pull all of that out, replace it, and then put plywood on top. Sorry, it probably would be plywood on the bottom, and then this poly, and then insulation, and then plywood on the top as well, and then try to close off the outside so the rain and snow can't get in there and then seep down and make everything wet. As well as all that insulation, that's fine. As well as all the insulation should hopefully keep things a lot warmer. And then the final project will be this door. So this was like originally a chicken, actually no, originally it was a part of a shop slash shed. We repurposed it for a chicken coop, and then because we don't have chickens anymore, we repurposed it to a goat barn. So there's some things that need to happen. This door is way too big to open up and just lose all of that heat, so I just want a small little man door, and then that way I don't lose a ton of heat every time I open that door when it's -20. So that's the scoop with the kidding barn, and then hopefully we'll have 3 different stalls in there. And then you got the kitty.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Petey.
Can't sleep in
So
here.
3 stalls. We're gonna be moving girls in and out pretty frequently, just bringing them in just to have babies, and then milking them out, make sure they've cleaned out, and then they come back outside. Isn't that right? It's a year of bottle raising, which is gonna be something different. Off we go, chasing the sunset. Come on, itty bitty baby. I call her baby, but she's not really a baby anymore. Leave it alone, come here. Ladybug, come here. Come here. Oh, really? Come here, Jitterbug. Jitterbug, come here. Come here, look. What's this? Don't knock my camera over. Come here. Come here. That way you don't get beat up. That ladybug, you're gonna spill your grain. Oh, excuse me. No, thank you. Don't. You will spill it all over the place.
For some of you keeners, or the ones
Move it
who
up so you don't
are
spill it.
used to horse behavior, you will know exactly what I mean when I say I messed up big time. And I am going to leave you hanging until tomorrow, because I've got a video that I'm going to address this completely and why this is serious business and what I did was wrong. So feel free to look back at this clip and see if you can figure out what I did wrong here. The foals have been getting some grain just to help with the extra calories, proteins, fats, all of that good stuff. They have access to their shelter, they get fed hay. I just find that if I feed them their grain first, then I know that they're getting their grain, and then I toss over a whole bunch of hay after that's done. I realize now as I'm editing this video that some people may be like, oh my goodness, you put grain on the ground. Don't you see all of the horse apples or the feces on the ground? And to be honest, I kind of become a little bit desensitized to it, especially in the wintertime, because we do deal with a lot of just really cold weather. The manure is frozen solid. Yes, maybe it's best to feed them in a pan like this. I just need to track down a couple other feed dishes so that I can feed them off the ground. However, as you will see in a little bit, Ladybug here, she's busy pawing at her dish, and she is trying to get the good stuff out of it. It's kind of instinctual for them, really. She's been doing it as long as I can remember. And oftentimes I have horses that spill it out of the pan and then they eat it off the ground anyways. So to me, scraping a clean little area to dump their grain doesn't feel like a big deal, but to some people I understand that they're like, oh my goodness, that's so primitive, or you could be a lot more careful with how you're feeding them. I don't have a flawless system, I will readily admit that. We are doing the best we can, also acknowledging that there are areas that can be improved. I'm trying to keep their water clean as well, so I'm just scraping out some of the hay that they track in there. any kind of like the dirt, just to freshen up that supply of water again. It probably could use a scrub out, but if you guys have any tips for cleaning out automatic waterers, without, like, obviously I can't clean it with soap, otherwise the soap residue is still going to be in their water trough. You can see that steam rising there. It's heated. It's very, very warm. This particular day, I mean, it's like -10 outside, and that water was very, very warm to the touch. So they are doing super well with having automatic water 24/7. And let me tell you, I am so, so thankful that I am not hauling buckets out there for 9 horses because that would be so much work. Nor am I dealing with frozen garden hoses trying to truck out 40 gallons at a time. This way, they have a steady supply of water constantly. Nobody's thirsty, and hopefully, that'll also reduce the risk of colic in these horses this winter as well. The big bay gelding here, kind of front and center, that's Duke. You can see kind of his ribs as he shifts around. He and the red roan mare on the right, they were pawing through snow for a little bit, and so it's natural that they lose a little bit of body condition. Now, again, people who aren't used to, I guess, this rural way of life may go, oh my goodness, that's horrible that you'd make them paw through snow to eat grass. I did for a short time. These are young horses. They are in great health. I don't have any concerns of them pawing through the snow. But once we hit a point where there was so much snow, we brought them home to be able to feed them hay. Another reason why we did let a few of them paw into the winter was because hay is very, very short this year. We were lucky to find the hay that we did find, and I want to be careful how much I feed them. And so I am feeding them enough. Actually, by my calculations, I'm overfeeding them somehow. I tend to think that the amount that I'm feeding them, it looks like not enough, but if you were to weigh it out, I'm actually feeding them more than their daily needs as far as like how many pounds of hay each horse needs. But I keep an eye on each individual horse's body condition. The ones that maybe are looking a little bit more ribby, they get some oats or they get a bit of a protein feed just to help with losing that body condition. But up here, it is very normal for horses to lose a bit of body condition over the winter, and then they gain it back and they are fat and chunky and happy in the summertime again. Now, I am not saying that these horses should be emaciated or skinny, but it's fairly normal for them to show a little bit of ribs by the time spring rolls around. Their bodies work hard all winter long, and we're doing our best to feed them as well as we can without overfeeding them and making them fat too. We are pitching hay off of round bales. It's the most affordable way to go, especially when you're feeding any number of horses. Square bales were quite expensive this year, ranging from $12 to $16 per like 75 pound square bale, versus getting some of these big round bales that are about 1,500 pounds for between $100 and $150. They kind of had a bit of a range depending who we purchased from. And so it's quite a bit more cost effective to feed off of round bales, even though it's not quite as convenient. It's definitely a little bit more work. It's way harder to try to stuff it into hay nets. Hay nets would slow them down a little bit, and I have done that in the past, and I may do it some more in the future. But in some of the days where I'm just running and trying to get things done as quick as I can, I just throw them a bunch of hay and they nibble through the best stuff and they save the worst stuff for last. And by worst stuff, I mean like the stalks. They're like, I want to eat the fine alfalfa bits. Those are what's tasty to me. And so then they eat all the goodies first. They like to eat dessert first and then their meal after, I find. The roughage, the bulk, the stuff that's going to keep them full the rest of the day, they munch on that for a little bit longer. All in all, everybody's doing pretty good. They're trucking along through winter. I don't even know if we're halfway through. I feel like we're starting to get a better routine, better rhythm down as far as feeding twice a day, eyeballing how much we're feeding, keeping an eye on everybody, doing all the visual checks and stuff, and just making sure everybody can survive and hopefully thrive through the winter time.
guys are hungry. I'm gonna go. Watch it stick onto my lips. Ah, it's stuck. It sticks your lips. Watch me. Oh dear. It's taking off some of your skin. Don't do that.
Don't stick your tongue to that.
It took some of her skin off of her lips.
Yes, it will.
I find this so hilarious looking back and listening to this video because I don't always pay attention to everything going on around me. And can you tell who the oldest child is and who the middle child is? The one going, oh no, is definitely my oldest child. And the one who is exploring with sticking her lips to frozen metal is definitely the middle child.
It will freeze. Your tongue or your lips will freeze onto that piece of metal.
When I was 3 or 4, I learned that too, right?
I don't think you've ever tried that, actually. Happy, happy girls. We've got the sun setting over there, and the moon already way up there. I apparently have been working hard because I'm just in a sweater right now. And I'm like, man, it feels warm. Which maybe that's because there's not really a wind chill. But just checked, it's -9. Feels like -14 degrees Celsius. So I don't know, maybe I'm just climatizing. Or maybe I'm just working hard, unloading the hay bales, walking back and forth, feeding all the animals. And I haven't really gotten chilled. All done. Go inside and make some supper for my family. Thanks so much for watching today. I will see you guys down the road.